in addition to what you have done through these guided meditations, I'm very curious about what you did in the delivery of it and the music and entrainment with it to help support moving deeply into these states and connecting with the soul in that way.
Sure. So one of the things I've frequently, not always, but frequently aimed to do when creating layers of brainwave entrainment is to take people into deep states, sometimes right down to the theta delta border, sometimes more into mid theta. And so that's because, of course, not everyone watching this will have a clue what I'm talking about there, but that's associated with shamanic states. It's also associated with going into a dream-like state of what we drift into as we go into REM at night, into REM sleep when we start dreaming. There's what's called the hypnagogic state, where you're drifting down and you start to get dream-like images, and you begin processing things in a different way. You begin processing them less rigidly. You could say less left hemispherically, where rather than knowing exactly what this is and exactly what that is and everything's clear and defined, that the left hemisphere has sometimes been compared to a hall of mirrors that enjoys its own reflection but never lets in what's new, never lets in the fluidity of nature. It's very, okay, this is that, and I know the answer to that, and bum, 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 and I've got my beautiful little mental picture of the world. But when you drift down into a deeper state, that softens, things open, you begin to be able to process things in a different way and tap into intuitions and insights that you wouldn't normally have access to. And so a lot of the guided meditations that I've been created are about taking people into that deeper dream-like state where intuitions and spontaneous insights come more easily, and bringing into that 40 hertz gamma waves. But that essentially, I mean, that's been found in a lot of mindfulness meditations when they've studied people, especially doing loving kindness metta practices. There's a strong, that's a very fast frequency, 40 hertz gamma, and it's sometimes hypothesized it's the binding frequency of consciousness. But certainly the subjective effect of listening to and having brainwave entrainment at that level is, to put it very simply, is clarity, complete clarity. So I'm very interested in how do you combine deep states of dreamlike reverie with complete clarity and awareness. And those are exactly the patterns that have been observed in people when they're having intuitions. So it's that combination of theta and gamma. And there's a particular element to these tracks of cleansing, particularly in track 2, of releasing and cleansing and clearing out those injunctions from the outside, those rules and values that may have been pushed upon you by others. And that as that happens, the gamma frequency is ramped up. The gamma frequency, the amplitude of it is increased. So you get the subjective experience, and this is what people have reported who've listened to it as well, is that you get a complete sense of clarity, of being able to see those values and judgments and other people's life plans that they may have had from you, being able to see them all with complete clarity from the outside, with the fluidity and the sort of the dreamlike absorption and freedom of being able to separate yourself from those, to see them from the outside, and to make a decision about, is that how I want to be living my life from now onwards? Are those things that other people pushed on me, maybe very well intentioned, you should grow up to be a doctor, a lawyer, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you'll never do this. They may have been, maybe people said you'll never do something because they didn't want you to be disappointed. It's not that there were a bunch of big baddies out there trying to spoil your fun. People say things with the best of intentions, but is that the plan that is true for me, for my life, for who I really am, and for me being true to myself. And so it gives you a chance to step outside of that left hemispheric, neat and tidy hall of mirrors where you think you've got everything, this is how the world is, and to open up to a much, much more present, embodied, grounded, real sense of here I am, I'm alive, I'm part of nature, and the world isn't made up of straight lines and neat and tidy boxes. So who am I really behind all of those rules, behind all of those injunctions? Who am I really? How do I reconnect with that? And how do I start living in that way in my life? So the entrainment is all designed to support that self-discovery, that experience of rediscovering yourself.